Prep Test 71, game number 3, question 14, asks us, if O is summarized, which of the following cannot be true? So we have a cannot be true question here, which means that one answer choice here must be false. It cannot be true. The other 4 could be true. So we can either prove that one of them must be false or prove that 4 of them could be true. So let's go ahead and bring up our limited options here, and we'll fill in what we know, which is that O is summarized. So we can put a Y right there. If O is summarized, the books on either side of it cannot be summarized because of our rule number 1 right up here. So what does that tell us? Well, remember that in these first 3 spaces here in both options, we can have F, N, and T in a few different orders. And I'm going to come up here really quickly and just write those orders out up top. So we can either have F, N, T, we can have N, T, F, or we can have N, F, T. And that's because N has to come before T, but that's the only requirement for those 3 spaces. So we have a few different orders, and rather than drawing out all 3 of those for each of our 2 options, I'm going to draw out 1 for each of our 2 options and see where that gets us. See if maybe that helps us find 4 of these answer choices that could be true. So let's go ahead and draw out, say, the first scenario here for option 1. We'll say F, N, T. So as I've drawn it out here, you'll notice that we have T not summarized. And that pertains to this big rule right here. If we write out the contrapositive to this rule, it will tell us that if R is not summarized, or if T is not summarized, then N is summarized. Well, in this scenario, we have T not summarized, therefore N must be summarized. So we can say Y here. F is not summarized because of rule number 1 again. And R could be either one. We don't actually care which one. We've already met the demands of this particular contrapositive, so we don't have to worry about R. So there's one of our orders. In our second option down here, we'll draw out a different order. We'll try this NTF one. So if we placed NTF, notice that again down here we have R unassigned or unsummarized, so we're once again triggering this rule, this time with R instead of with T. So we know that N needs to be summarized again. This one can't be because it's next to N. And this one, once again, is optional. Could go either direction. So let's see if these options give us enough information to find 4 answer choices that could be true. So first, could F be first? Yes, we have that right here. So this could be true. Could K be 6th? Yep, we have that right here in our second option. So that could be true. Could F be summarized? Well, we haven't found one yet where F is summarized, so we're going to skip that for now and see how we do with the last 2 answer choices. Could K be not summarized? Well, down here in option 2, we have the option to either summarize K or to not summarize K. So in other words, it could be true that K is not summarized. And finally, answer choice E, N is not summarized. So thus far in both of our examples, N has been summarized. So we have to work out either C or E here. And let's figure out which one's easiest. If we look at answer choice E, if N is not summarized, both R and T have to be summarized. So I'm going to erase our first option up here. And the reason I'm going with our first option is because if you notice the second option down here, one of the most fundamental things that we built into this was that R could not be summarized. And if R can't be summarized, remember via our contrapositive up here, we know that N has to be summarized. Okay, so we can't do a lot with that one. But up here, we're not quite sure what's what. We know that O is summarized. We know that the ones on either side of it are not. We're trying to make N not summarized. So what if I write in N not summarized right there? Well, if N is not summarized, both R and T have to be summarized, and that leaves F left. So in this scenario, you'll see that we have proven that it could be true that N is not summarized. And meanwhile, we've also shown once again that it cannot be true that F is summarized. So this is our odd man out right here in answer choice C. It must be false that F is summarized.